I say like practice in the very beginning. That's what everybody should be doing. Taking literally every single opportunity. If your family is at a family reunion and they're like, sing a song, don't be like, no, 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 I'm too embarrassed, no. Just do it. Like it's gonna be awkward. You're gonna be awkward, but do it. Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, yeah. Right, your granny is gonna love it.
Right. What's going on, guys? Thomas Jordan here in sunny Laguna Beach, California at the Business by Design event hosted by James Wedmore. It's crazy because it's about entrepreneurs building their online business, turning into a digital CEO. But you know, it's interesting. People who've been following me for a while know that I interview celebrities for a living and also comedians, musicians, and it's always cool to meet new people. And it's not every day you run into a multi-platinum singer-songwriter, Jennifer Paige from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey,
what's going on?
What's up?
Now, is it super, like, what is it like saying that? Almost, it's like, you know, you put that in your title, put that on your business card, multi-platinum artist.
It's pretty cool because there's a lot of singer-songwriters in the world, and it's like the one thing that I can be like, hey guys, like I've done this, and you know, I've kind of earned my badge of honor in the music industry. You know how it is, like I lived in LA for a long time, and you know, the poor actors who come to your table, they're like, I'm an actor, and then they feel like this little, it's the same for singers. So I at least get to have that little, you know, little extra.
And one big misconception is if you live in Nashville, you must be doing country, but that's not the case.
No, I'm not a country singer. I've got the accent. Actually, when I lived in LA, I kind of felt like I lost my accent a little bit, but then the second that I moved back to the South, it was like full force, maybe even double, I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, I'm from Georgia.
Yeah.
But it's weird because when I go back, it happened in a recent interview, I was closing everything out.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is a little bit of Southern came out, and I'm not a Southern person whatsoever. So it's, I hear you.
We're like neighbors too, right?
I know.
We're from like Alpharetta, right?
Alpharetta.
Marietta.
Alpharetta, Marietta. If anybody knows,
yes,
it's close.
Neighbors.
It's close. But no, so what type of music do you sing, song, or where did you get the award?
So I was always a huge fan of pop music, and I still am. I love pop music. I mean, for me, that kind of encompasses everything. And so, yeah, I started out super like pop, you know, girl, and it's just morphed over the years. I would say now it's a little more, you know, electronic, and I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, pop.
And what's your claim to fame then?
I had a hit called Crush that went #1 in 16 countries around the world. It's just a little crush, not like our fate every time we touch. It's just some little thing, not like everything I do depends on you. I got to sing for the Pope, and you know, I've gotten to meet kings, and you know, all kinds of cool things. So stuff like that, you know.
Were you starstruck by any of those people whatsoever?
In the beginning, for sure. I went to the World Music Awards once, and you know, like Will Smith, and like, you know, all the biggies, like all the people that I grew up like knowing and admiring. They were all like in the rows with me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is the coolest thing that has ever happened to me.
And who was the #1 who stood out and you were just like, oh my God, I can't believe it's that person? And did you talk to them?
No, I did not talk to them. I was too shy. I'm still like really shy actually, but the most embarrassing moment of my life happened there because I had on like a bra pad. You know, I was like feeling really, I was like, okay, I've got on this cool dress. I'm like, okay. And like the pad totally popped out of my dress, and like Damon Wayans was like, hey babe, I just want you to know, like, and I was like mortified.
Oh.
Yeah, it was awful. It was like really
At least somebody told you, because what if you went out there the whole night?
It was so embarrassing, yeah. It was totally embarrassing.
But all the we're talking all the glitz, the glam, the everything like that, but where did you actually start? And was it as easy as it almost sounds?
Well, no, but I wouldn't say it was just the beginning that wasn't easy for me. Like the beginning, in retrospect, actually was easy for me compared to a lot of other artists, because I moved to LA, I started working with songwriters, and then like maybe like 6 months later, I got a deal. So it was pretty fast for me, but what was like slower then was learning the business and like I didn't know what a manager was, you know, and all of a sudden I've got this deal and I'm like, I'm literally taking manager meetings and I don't know what a manager is supposed to do. And I was too embarrassed to ask, you know, so I would be there and I would just be like, well, you've represented, you know, Janet Jackson and, you know, who else and I guess that means
it must be legit.
I guess you're good, you know, you've done the, so there was a lot of that. And then later I found out like there was a lot of misrepresenting going on. I mean, even still today, I'll go on somebody's website and they'll say like, oh, you know, I represent Jennifer Paige, and I'm like, I have literally never heard of you. I have no idea who you are. And so there's a lot of that goes on in the industry, and I didn't know about that. I just like trusted everybody. Yeah. I'm still very trusting, and you know, I just have to like be like a little smarter than I was in the beginning, because I made a lot of bad mistakes just literally trusting people. So, and
that might be a Southern thing too, because everyone in the South, you're just like, oh yeah, come
yeah,
over, do this. Yeah, you want to manage me?
Sure.
That's super cool.
You are so sweet. Yes.
So at what point did you feel, when did you feel the trust bend a little bit, where like you were in a meeting with a manager or an agent or something and you were just like, something doesn't feel right?
It took me a long time, because you know, like I said, I have such a trusting nature that I had to see things kind of go awry before I really wanted to take a look at it, you know. So I just over time started feeling like this guy does not have my best interest. Like, he is definitely looking out for monetary gain over blah, 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 or whatever it is. Maybe it's like, you know, the manager or the agent or whatever, they just like, maybe you're not the top priority. And so you're just like, you have to find people who like truly almost feel like family. And it takes, you know, searching and really being picky about those people, you know. So now that's something I really like to kind of share and preach on, you know. And
you've been in the industry for 20 plus years now.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, and which is a huge milestone in itself.
Totally.
As a female artist, do you think, and everything that you've seen, do you feel like as a female, it's a little harder than like a male because you're more afraid to maybe speak up, or you know, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I think it's very different. I wouldn't say it's harder because I don't know what it's like to be a guy, you know. But I mean, I hear that a lot. Women say that a lot. But I would say that as a girl raised in the South, I was raised to be very respectful and to listen and to take it all in. And so I had to learn to find my voice, even as it pertained to myself and my own future. Because as you know, like in this kind of industry, you become the product. You know, you as the singer or the artist or whatever, you are the product. So a lot of people have their hands on that stuff, whether it's the, you know, the photographer or the, you know, just whoever, the marketing, the PR, everybody has a say on how a certain thing should go out. If you don't know who you are, someone else will tell you. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to define that first, and you have to be the leader of the ship, and that's something that I really didn't know in the beginning. And
how long did that take to master? Because obviously you didn't just wake up tomorrow and you're like, I know exactly, because it sounds like in the beginning you kind of just were like, okay,
I'm going for the ride, okay, let's go. And it was a dream come true for me too. I mean, I had imagined that since I was a little kid. And so for me, I was just like, yes, I made it, you know? But it took me before my second album. By the time I had experienced like a release and success and, you know, TV shows and all those things, I finally I was like, okay, I think I understand this world a little bit better now, you know? And it took literally like the whole cycle of my first record, putting out a second record before I was like, no, I want to do this, you know, and this is what I think is cool, and this is the producer I want to work with, and stuff like that. It took me, you know, a good 3 years probably.
I bet. And even the entertainment industry, regardless of what area of aspect you're in, is a lot of ups and downs, and I'm sure you went through that as well.
Yes.
How did you, like, were the highs high and then the lows low?
Oh yeah, full on.
And as far as the lows, how did you kind of manage to get through those times?
Thankfully, I was raised with a family who you know, it was never like, oh, if, you know, this equals success, you know, like it was like, are you a cool person? you're successful. Are you good to people? Awesome. You know, that literally like was what was instilled in me at a young age. And so I feel like I've been able to keep that throughout my life, which I'm thankful for. But I think like still I didn't, because I didn't want to seem weak. I didn't want to talk about like, oh, this was so hard for me, or oh, I should have done a better job with that. So I kept a lot in that probably slowed me down, you know? So like now I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna expose my weakness. I'm gonna talk about like where I'm really uncomfortable, even though it sucks and it's super scary. I wanna like get past it as fast as I can, because those early days I stayed in that insecurity for too long.
And even though you had that great family base and friend base, did you still ever feel alone?
Oh, totally. I think that honestly, we are alone. You know, that as horrible as that sounds, I think we are alone. This is our personal journey. It is our life. We are here. You know, we have the surrounding that we've been raised with and the people that we're around and, you know, those influences. But at the end of the day, we are the ones who are creating our future every little tiny step of the way. And so it is up to us. And honestly, the quicker we realize that, the better off we're going to be.
And since you've been in the industry so long and you, like I said, ups, downs, now I feel like you bring a lot of joy to people with your music, and that's kind of like one of the goals, I guess, as a musician. But now you kind of want to take it a step further and kind of teach people about the industry.
Yeah, totally. I think this is something that I've always thought about doing, because I was so clueless in the beginning of my career, and I wished I had somebody to turn to, but that's not really an industry where you're just like, oh, I'm going to search the internet for what, you know, so-and-so feels about what her early days. And you always hear those stories about the bankruptcy and the, you know, the horrible getting taken advantage of this way or that way. And like, but that's literally where the conversation ends. You know, it's never like, and I wish I would have done so-and-so differently. It's always like, and so that scares young artists. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to be taken advantage of. I don't know how to not to do that. So I just kind of want to like open that conversation up a little bit while being an artist. Like, I think the reason that I waited so long to voice this is that I was like, ooh, if I go into that, that means I'm not going to be able to be an artist anymore. That means that like I'm shifting my direction so much that like maybe I'm, you know, hanging up my artist hat. But then, you know, like now I'm just like, no, I'm going to expand it so that I can speak about it and also continue to do it, you know, because I think the best teachers do that, right? They're living examples of how to do, you know, how to do what we're teaching about. And
when did you know you wanted to bring awareness to other artists like this?
Man, honestly, I've been walking around with this idea for about 3-4 years. And I've not acted on it, so I just like now am like, okay, I'm doing this. The world needs this. Like, artists actually need this. I want to, you know, open up the conversation, help artists to become friends with artists. Like, all these years in this industry, like, I have met so many artists along the way, and I don't have any great artist friends. Like, I've got a ton of acquaintance artists, and I think that's really sad.
I think that's in a lot of, because we're all, I feel like, as I learned, like, the reality is we're all on the same team, but we're all like in it for ourselves a little bit. And I think
such
people
a competition mindset, which is sad.
And that's what the industry does. But that is a competition thing, and it's sad it has to be like that. But that's also one of my things. What I'd love to do is to like somehow get rid of that wall. I don't know how to do it. I haven't figured it out yet, but I've talked to enough people where it's all the same thing. It's kind of like the alone thing. Like, we're all here, we're all together, and yeah, I know. But once again, with family and friends, we all still feel like, no, it's just us. And I want to try to figure out how to get that out of there.
It's like high tides lift all boats, right? It's like, I mean, I feel like, why not share another artist? Like, you know, that artist has killed themselves to get that record out or that whatever out. It's like, if you have ever met that person, you know what? Share it. How hard is it? Retweet. How hard is that? You know, just be like, good luck, girl, like whatever it is. It's like, is that going to hurt you anyway? You're searching for content anyway. Why not, you know? And
just by talking about this, I think it honestly, like, I believe it starts at the top. I think the top is so, there's something wrong up at the top, like where like the money is, the agents, the A&R people.
For sure, yeah.
I think that, because it's like, I feel like all artists want to get along. Like, we all do, but it's like there's this like layer that needs to be broken through. So that's kind of, I think that needs to, I don't know how, once again, I have no clue how that's going to happen.
It's like artists have to just start being cooler to each other and be like, you know what? I'm working my tail off. I know you're working your tail off. You want this. I feel it in your bones, you know, like, hey, I've got a friend who's probably doing what, you know, you might, I don't know, you may or may not like each other, but I'm gonna put you in touch with so-and-so and see what happens. That stuff comes back around. And you know what, we were talking about James Wedmore, and like what I've learned from the marketing community is why they're so brilliant is they work together. These guys, like, they're all buddies and they all promote each other. I'm like, why are the artists not doing that? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's crazy. And do you know your why yet?
My why is because I suffered a lot. I stayed silent a lot as an artist, and then I had to go and be on TV shows and pretend to be happy as could be, you know? And I had to say, like, oh, working with that person was so awesome. Like, it was such a great experience. Because, you know why? Because there was a lot of money behind what I was doing, and I had to say that. I can't disappoint the record label, the agent, everybody else. Like, I have to support the product. I'm not the product, the CD's the product, or whatever, you know? But now I'm like, you know what, there's a way to still, you know, connect with your audience that's truthful, that can you be like, you know what, that part was hard, that part was awesome. And I just think, like, we have to just be more honest, and I want artists to know that it's okay, you know, to just tell the truth, you know? Tell the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what would you say to somebody new coming into the business? Like, little girl's got her guitar, she's like, hey, I want to be just like you, or I want to be a singer, I want to get the, like, what do I need to do?
I would say, you know, like, practice makes perfect, right? I mean, nobody wants to hear that, but you have to be great at whatever it is you're doing. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, you just have to feel really comfortable so that when that moment comes, you're ready. So, like, for me, for instance, I was, you know, I went to a performing arts high school. Like I said, I was nervous as could be, like, you know, to do my first auditions and stuff, but I would throw myself into the fire, you know, and I would do it, even though it felt really uncomfortable. And, you know, I was terrible, like, the first few times. My older brother was always, like, excellent at, you know, he was also a musician. He would, like, kill it. He would always be amazing, and they would be like, oh, you're so awesome. Chance, you're so amazing. And I'd be like, oh, golly. He was always, like, before me, too, so he would always kill it. And then I would be like, oh, man, I've got to live up to that again, you know? So I would come in, like, being like, oh, crap, so much to live up to. And finally, like, I was just like, I've got to do it, you know? I've got to rise for myself. And so I say, like, practice in the very beginning. That's what everybody should be doing, taking literally every single opportunity. If your family is at a family reunion and they're like, sing a song, don't be like, no, 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 I'm too embarrassed, no. Just do it. Like, it's going to be awkward. You're going to be awkward, but do it. Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah. Right, your granny is going to love it.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. It was awesome speaking with you. I could go on forever.
Awesome.
Where can we find you online?
Jennifer Paige Music on Facebook, Instagram, and Jennifer Paige 1 on Twitter. So, like, I'm pretty much everywhere. You can find me. Come find me.
We'll put it all in links.
And if you see this, definitely tell me where you came from. I'd
Awesome.
love to see you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want you to comment below if you are a up-and-coming artist or even an established artist, what piece of advice you took from her. Like I said, I could talk forever, but like this video if you like it, share it with somebody who could use it, and always subscribe for more videos like this one.